Yes, people, you lucky people, you've got only me today. So we're going to talk about, well, everything that's going on with Manchester United. With Carrick, obviously, he's now in charge. As you can see, he's brought his coaching staff. I don't know why Steve Holland's getting disrespected already. So it's going to be me and you guys in the comments. So do get your comments in, even if you are a rival, it does not matter. But if you are going to start trolling and everything, go right ahead. But don't get on to me if someone removes you in it. I'm just saying. But smash the likes. They are super important. As you know, every like counts and obviously helps me get a new subscriber. Big up everyone in the building like Broderick and Eddie. Bring me the Zerbi to OT. The Zerbi won't work with a prat like Walcott. We'll talk about it. Guys, 100 people and likes leaking. Pay your rent, you freeloaders. That's, I mean, don't have to be that harsh, innit? I'll just karma. But yeah, look, Bruno apparently wants out. I don't think he does. I'm gonna be real, yeah. All these links with Bruno Fernandes allegedly leaving, I don't think it's as set in stone as what it may seem. But we're gonna have to talk about this source because I can't believe. You know what? I don't even know why. I'm gonna have to change that. It should be a question mark, not an exclamation mark. But if Bruno wants out, then I'm pretty sure somebody else would have told us by now that he's going to be the one that's leaving this summer. And if he does, is Saudi really guaranteed? Because there's always rumors about Bayern Munich lurking. So let me change that real quick because that's going to get on my nerves otherwise. You know what I mean? People's like, oh, what do you mean he's leaving? I'm not trying to spread some fake ass news. I'm going off what the news is saying, but the news is quite dead. There we go. So the Zerbi and Tuchel are front runners and Southgate snubbed. That's the one. That's the actually my favorite part on this whole title, right? And from what I was reading up, is Southgate getting snubbed, and that was from the likes of Sky Sports, Rob Dorset. So I was like, that's a thank you. That's a thank you token. Because see these rivals, especially these Liverpool fans, mainly these lot, always talking about you're getting Southgate. When really and truly, let's be real, man. Why is it that English managers always get like Southgate, linked with Manchester United? Why not any other English team? Why us? I don't get it. But again, we'll talk about it. Look, now we've got eyeballs, but let's talk about the Bruno stuff first. The source is absolutely shocking. I'll say this right now. Yeah. And I'm going to go through, if you've got comments and stuff, I'll bring them up in a second. Let's just go through this kind of segment, right? Pete Hall has got to be one of the worst and most arse journalists that's out there. Yeah, Pete Hall. I think it's called the iPaper Sport, and I'm rubbishing it right now. I've never seen this man drop anything credible in my entire career. Pete Hall. Look, I'm not going to stand here or sit here, shall I say. I'm not standing. I'm not going to sit here and act like Bruno Fernandes is the worst thing since sliced bread. Does United need to go and potentially rebuild the midfield and move forward with life without Bruno Fernandes if they can do it correctly? Probably, yeah, maybe. He's getting to a certain age. Could United keep a captain or a leader around as well in a dressing room that might be reduced game times? Probably yes, right? And then on the other side of things, INEOS. Do you believe INEOS are capable enough of replacing these players? Right now, you probably say no. Are they going to get these designated targets over the line? I think a lot is riding on obviously Man United's season, but I want to talk about what you guys might think about Bruno Fernandes, because we have a lot of people that are for him and a lot of people that aren't for him, but we have to weigh up some negatives and some positives out of all of this. When we haven't had Bruno Fernandes on the pitch, we can see there is a major lack of clarity in our midfield and its direction. You're losing a lot of the creative spark, but you got to look at when Cunha was in a 10 against Burnley, and then you got to look at the Cunha that was kind of playing more inside, right? And it's like you're gonna have to choose one at some point, because Cunha out wide does not look like he's capable of doing that job. Cunha, don't get me wrong, he did it actually again when he did go in a 10. He created a nice little chance for Sesko, who's running in behind. But for me, Cunha or Bruno Fernandes, I don't think it can be one or the other. And don't get me wrong, again, should they fight out potentially throughout whoever the next manager is going to be, who's like someone like De Zerbi or Tuchel's going to like? See, I think this is where it depends on which manager is to succeed. Now, if there's a manager like Tuchel, I think he's going to love Bruno Fernandes and absolutely veto that, right? But if it's the likes of De Zerbi, who likes a bit more control and plays that can run that are athletic, go look at his Marseille side, go look at the plays that he liked, or at Brighton as well. He's going to probably more like the Cunha type of players in behind, like the Jorginho Ruta type figures and those ones and so forth and so forth. Not really a 10 that's a bit short and a little bit that one that can evade the press and then probably put a ball in. Never really had that central figure. He loved players that can run, press, and obviously, that are quite fast. So again, we need to address the midfield. But I feel like, in my personal opinion as a Man United fan, the last person in that midfield we need to be kind of worried about right now is Bruno Fernandes. We need to have him, whether he's in the team or not in the team. You got to be looking at players like Casemiro first. You got to be like, if you're not going to extend this contract, which I'm hoping they just let it go. Agate, who's the worst footballer since forever. We already are lacking an extra midfielder anyways. And you look at the likes of Mason Mount, as much as Mount's qualities off the ball might be something of like a desired effect, on the ball, you wouldn't call Mount an effective midfielder. He's someone that you have on the bench. And I just don't see how he pushes anybody out in that side, especially in an attacking mid spot. Because both of these managers, in Tuchel and obviously in the likes of De Zerbi, they do play more of a 4-2 kind of 3-1 formation, right? Something similar to what Carrick's going to bring to the side of Man United. So looking at Bruno Fernandes, why you can't rebuild a whole midfield, and the first one you say you need to get rid of him first, for me, a little bit sour. A little bit too sour. Even if he's in the side, United need a squad. yes, United need to change more to maybe a 4-3-3 perhaps, or something along them lines, or 4-2-3-1 going forward as this new rebuild. But I'm just looking at it as a perspective of if you dismiss Bruno, even though you've got all this money from Højlund, Rashford, and Nana, wages being saved, maybe Champions League football, you need to. I feel he should be the last conversation. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you're going to play in one of those 10s, even if he's not playing, you can still find other ways to play. And if you're going to get Belabers or Whartons or Andersons, I'm not saying we're going to get all three, or Manu Kone's who we've been linked to, or James Garner's, and every single kind of a physical profile like that, or dog work players like that, you can still make it work with Bruno Fernandes in the side or not. You know, that's where I'm kind of leaning towards. Do you want a really good squad, or do you just want to keep selling your best players and getting rid of experience and looking like a Chelsea? Do you know what I mean? I think getting rid of him, I've kind of changed my tune on it, because I know if he's a captain, he's going to want to play a lot, but you've got to be, again, I think he's going to go down to more of a reduced role for next season because he can't play every game. That's kind of where I stand with it. I just want to keep quality in the side as much as possible. So, but there's a lot of rumors about him leaving. I was just going to say that, James, there's already a lot of rumors, even from India, and you can't deny India as a source anymore. He was talking about, back in October, and the plan is, Bruno going out and Belaber and Anderson coming in. But if you're someone like Bruno trying to get Man United on a pedestal, like eventually to kind of just slingshot them into something successful in their eyes, I suppose, maybe leaving them in a good place might be the way he says, I've done my job here. I look at a man who usually brings out posts and everything about, like, trying to, galvanize or, get the team spirit up and, to apologize to the fans. There's a little bit less of that. And I think it's an educated guess from the likes of Pete Hall. I don't think he's got any credibility whatsoever. But at this point, do you guys not think that Bruno Fernandes has probably had enough, if you are to have a bit of an educated guess? You have all the opportunity in the world to probably go over to Germany or maybe even Saudi, either earn your money or go get a couple more trophies. But I just think the Premier League, I think if he's here, we're just going to keep holding him back. And you know what? It might even get to a part where fans feel that Bruno's holding Man United back. And for a lot of the time, I felt like he has held Man United back, but Man United's never really built around him. If you're going to get you got Pogba. Don't get me wrong, Pogba's there first. You got Bruno. You need the DM for years. You need someone that can make sure that he just does what he needs to do going forward. So I think, has he run his course? Yes. But do you pass up an opportunity of like 56 million for non 60 million or whatever the bid may be? Do you pass up that opportunity when it's there in your face, when I could use that money and I can probably go and get the likes of, especially if it's straight up cash as well from the likes of Saudi, all in one go, you can go and get your Belabers and Whartons, Garners, and whoever else that might be of you lot's fancy. Let me go through some of your comments though. Bruno era's run its course. Ade saying Bruno has seen the lack of ambition. I feel we've let him down. I think you're probably right. This is why a lot of people have an issue with INEOS at the moment. You can kind of, INEOS are draining. I must admit, even for me, someone that I would say I'm very giddy. Like, has anyone noticed? I get very giddy, but even I'm getting to the points that I don't mind their transfer stuff. But when it comes to, executing something like this, certain decisions on the pitch, you sacked Amorim because of his outburst about, your image or about your, I don't know, your professionalism or whatever. You sacked him for that and not because of results. And that's quite concerning as a United fan. Like, where does your ambitions lie and how are you going to execute that? Especially when you let go 8-9 players in one summer and only replaced with 5. When you always needed about 6-7 players because you needed a midfield. Any other top club, like I'm going to give it like Liverpool. When Liverpool lost a lot of their older players, Henderson and Fabinho's and Wijnaldum's and blah, blah, they neglected their side. They suffered because of it, obviously, because they weren't as good and they weren't competing. But before you know it, they brought in like 4 midfielders. Gravenberch, McAllister, Endo, who was a solid player at that time as well. And they brought in another player, I can't even remember at this point, but Szoboszlai. They brought in 4 midfielders. And they still brought in more. And they still need to bring in more. With us, like if it was Man City, as soon as they lose a player just down to injury, and they know that, in the summer, this is what correct planning does. You go and get that target now, no matter what it takes, because you want to compete and make sure that you're in certain areas. Chelsea is another one of them. Recently, like, they need 2 new wingers, they need a new attacker and everything. They go and got that done. But the difference is, why a lot of people, I find, is comparing Chelsea like to INEOS, is because in one window where they needed centre backs, they didn't bother and they neglected it. And now they're suffering because of it, because not just a quality issue, but they're not bringing enough players. When Levi Colwill done a whole ACL, I don't want to become like that. And you see a lot of our signings that we do bring in, they're just youngsters all around from the world. And it's like, well, when are they ever going to get a chance? I think it is come down to a bit poor squad planning, but I do want to give them. That's why I want to be that small little touch patient and see what they do this summer. Then I'm going to really judge them, because it can get really bad. And if Ratcliffe is a man of his word, if he gets abused as much as the Glazers, he walks. And you know what? He's probably just a liar. So it is what it is. When you hire interim to replace interim, then I think the board obviously has no ambition. We should have just went out and got the next manager we wanted. Waiting around on ifs and buts is a joke. You know what? You're right. But in the same breath, could you not also argue that within the club, they don't want to rush into making a manager just because they're available? You know, do they not wait to the summer where they can wait and try get the correct appointment? You know, if it's going to go down this Carrick route, then they've kind of identified who, you know, how does Carrick play? How do we want to see, and where do we want to see ourselves playing like a certain type of brand of football? And then you're identifying coaches that play a similar way. We're not seeing Iriolas, we're not seeing Glasners. I think that's the wrong choices at this point in time. I think they've proven to themselves that they're nothing actually that better than a mid-table club. Can they do better? Probably, but not at a huge club like Manchester United, where there's a lot of pressure. Right? Can't be losing to Macclesfield. You can't be getting battered for like 10 games straight. In Iriola's case, you know, we've already been out to Grimsby. I don't think we want to. I don't really want to rehearse that horror. Not for me. Wilcox talk players on Monday. Love to be the fly on the wall. See what he said. Only our shape to seam. There's no guarantees though. Give me that desert money. For flip's sake, you lot are killing me. Amorim scammed them, hiring a manager mid-season. Swear on my dog's life. You mean, you're still going on about this? You're talking about, what's his name? Why can't I? Kamara. Kamara's better than Tielemans. I mean, this season, he's not better than Tielemans. I mean, he's doing great, though. Who should be the next number 10 if Bruno leaves? Cunha. I mean, we got a man with a number 10 at you know what I mean, Grace? If this is what I mean by INEOS needs to live and die by this. If you're gonna let Bruno go, you're gonna have to have that main number 10 guy that you brought in and gave him the number 10. You know, stick by your choice. Let's see how he does. And especially with a new manager, let's see how he performs as well. Bruno has seen, I already went past that one. All of this, that Man United back the manager by spending X amount of free attacks is a bit bullshit. They've let 5 attackers go. He needed you kind of stopped there. Sell that brother Cass and buy someone better than him. Keep players that want to stay. All right, let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this about Bruno Fernandes. And this is where I came to realizations about number 10s in world football. Let me know who's attainable at a reasonable price or a good price that's better than Bruno Fernandes as a 10. You'll probably find that you're struggling. You know, we've already gone down the route of Xerxes 10/9 or whatever you want to do it, and coming from the Serie A. Do you really want to bank on the Serie A like, overall? I think we will never really grasp how great a 10 can be at Manchester United unless we play, for me, unless you go and get 2 midfielders that can play the 8 and the 6, or both 8 or 2 8s. You either find yourself even 8. See, this is where I'm with you on this. F the 10, go play 2 8s. I'm with you on this position. I really think we need to go switch to a 4-3-3. I would like to have a single pivot rather than this double pivot. Get more players up the pitch. Suits the Kobe Minu a little bit more. He's not a defensive player. Well, he can be, but you'd want him going, further forward. I'm in total agreement. I'm in so total agreement with you there. So I just don't think we're going to do it though. But we will never get to grasp how good a 10 can be unless we get those 2 8/6s first. Because our midfield is crap. We need people that can control the ball from the first phase and the second phase, let alone the third. Clearly, we've shown that we don't really struggle in the third phase as much, but could it be better? Of course it can. There can always be more. I'm tired. I'm quite tired of tens. Tens are a dying out thing. Fabregas even came out recently and talked about, you know, the style of tens that are not here today, like the Urzels and whatnot. Like it's all robotic, and that's what he's trying to change within his own system. So yeah, I'm not really there. For me, Indy Kyler Bomber. Chelsea source told us that Cole Palmer doesn't have a release clause in his new contract this summer based on Champions League qualification. So if Chelsea don't qualify, that he has a release clause. Let me read that again. Let me read that from. Let me. Nah, this is where you want to tend. All right, let's have a little look at this. Indy Kyler, the one that everyone disregarded and just has all the sources recently. Like I said, it's not a person, it's not a single entity, it's a group. There have been reports this week that the player might have inserted a release clause, but Chelsea fans can relax. Chelsea sources told us that Cole Palmer doesn't have a release clause in his new contract this summer based on, so he doesn't have one. So there you go then. I don't think Chelsea would allow them a release clause. They're not the sort of club that operates like that. There's no release clause. Because they got Champions League qualification, there's no more release clause. It's done. And I don't know if it means, though, if that's an ongoing thing. If it's an ongoing thing, like where if they don't get Champions League, then there's a release clause available. There's a lot of rumors about, you know, Cole Palmer wanting to come back to Manchester. He's going to be a Manchester United player at some point. But let's be real. Chelsea are not going to sell him for anything less than... He'd be the most expensive player. No, it'd be the most expensive player in the whole league. You know, you thought Isak was expensive. Chelsea would extort. So, and we're not going to throw money like that. It's stupid. We need midfielders. If you're going to invest the sort of money that will cost you to replace a Bruno Fernandes and a Cole Palmer, you might as well go buy Baleba and flipping Wharton or Anderson if you can attain them, or Manu Kone. Use that money for something better that will push the team going forward. I'm so tired of having crap midfielders and no balance. We get dominated by the worst teams in the league. Burnley, Ugochukwu, Leeds. If they had Ethan Ampadu, it'd been a different story. I'm so bored of it, man. Wait. Yeah. What do you mean 180 million plus add-on? You know what? You're probably not even wrong. He signed a death row contract. It's as simple as that. He's not going nowhere. Not this year. If Chelsea don't qualify and they have a couple bad seasons, like Europa League or whatever, I can see him asking to leave. And then United might be on hot alert and say, we need to go and get this player. I just don't. But at the moment, I just don't. I don't see it. We've been needing midfielders for the longest. I'm tired of but I don't think we should be focusing on attackers. We need midfielders and we need a left winger, like a top one at that. It's crazy, isn't it? You get rid of all your wingers for tens, and now all of a sudden you need left wingers. The direction is horrible. Someone's head needs to roll this summer if things go really, really wrong. And you know what? Everyone wants to look at Wilcox, but I'm looking at Barada as well. But he's your money man, so clearly not. It's going to be Wilcox. His head's on the chopping block. But moving on, if we're going to talk about all these options in terms of managers that we've seen, you probably saw it last night, confirmed by Fabrizio, confirmed by Ty as well, who's got obviously links, Nathan Saltz and Chris Wheelers. We're all going to be wondering who the manager's going to be. And this is where I look at things and say, this looks like better planning for me. Don't rush into a decision because you never know, you know, what might be attainable in the summer. And then you just have this whole thing with the fan base saying, oh, why didn't you go and get that player? Why didn't you go get that manager for? Why did you not wait? You know, you rushed into a decision and now look at us. We could have been even better. So the candidates that have come out, obviously in Zerbi and Tuchel, I don't know who you guys would prefer, but I just think getting Tuchel out of England would be the most difficult thing in the world. If he ends up doing really well for England, his money's going to skyrocket. He's going to be England's #1. There's no way the FA let him go. And I don't know if he wins the World Cup, which is obviously, oh, you're not going to do it, you're deluded, Cass. I don't see how he does it. If he wins it, I think he's going to go want to win the Euros. That's just that's the nature of things. You want to complete at least a 4-year round contract at bare minimum. I don't see a manager coming in for 1 season and then just leaving unless he does absolutely diabolical. So who do you guys want? Would you prefer the Zerbi or a Tuchel? You know, we talked about if you can't handle Amorim, then you're not going to like the likes of the Zerbi. But clearly, the hierarchy quite like these managers that are quite outspoken. But it doesn't mean you need to be disrespectful. But Tuchel is one to criticize the ownership. De Zerbi is another one to talk out and be outspoken about the ownership. If he's not getting what he wants, he will speak on it. So that's where I'm kind of looking at things with what INEOS prefers as a sort of manager. The calm, relaxed type figures, I don't think they'd mind it, but they need someone that's got a bit of balls, a bit of personality. And it's kind of obvious at this point. So, when you're looking at Glasners who don't really have personality, I don't think the board's going to like that. I do feel that they look at personality and think, how are you going to handle the media? Are they going to like you? Can you handle the players that have got a bunch of egos? So that's why I looked at Glasner thinking, I think it's coming from his camp about wanting the job more than Man United's camp about wanting him. Is he a candidate? Of course he is. Of course he's going to be an option. But the last time out, the only reason why the Zerbi and Tuchel didn't happen because the Zerbi wanted certain finances and they couldn't agree on it. And then the likes of, and I think there was something along the lines about the project's a little bit at a low stage for his liking, I think. And I could be wrong in that part. And the Tuchel one, he wanted a short break. And we didn't want to do that short break. We didn't want to wait to the summer. If United decided that they wanted to wait till, I don't know, for at least half a year from that November period, you probably could have landed Tuchel for the summer, which we didn't. So again, when we say, why don't we just appoint a manager now? I think this is INEOS' thinking about wanting to wait and giving it to an interim until that time. For me, I'll be looking at the Zerbi. Tuchel is a great cup manager, but I think I want to be a little bit more than a great cup team. I don't care about Carabaos as much, but I would love to win them. And obviously the FA Cups. And if you could do it in the Champions League, God forbid, but get yourself stable in the Premier League. And I just don't look at Tuchel as someone that can get United to a certain level with everything that's surrounding them at the moment, with the players that are available, the players that could be available. If he doesn't get certain profiles you don't like, can he reach you to that next step? I just think, as much as I think he's a genius and he's a bit of a winner, the Zerbi hasn't proven himself yet. But I think United are not really in a stage, if we're being realistic. You lot can tell me if I'm talking crap, but if we're being realistic as a club, I don't think we're ready for managers like Tuchel. I think there needs to be the management that's a little, just maybe a step below in reputation. We need someone that can elevate us, and hopefully, of course, you want to win under them, but I just don't think we're ready for these top side managers. Oh, go get Zidane, you're Man United. Go get this manager. Go get that manager. Go get an Enrique. I just don't see it. I think we're one step too soon. And then I think that's just a recipe for disaster. I thought we need a bit of a building block. Someone that can coach with players that are not the greatest and some that are really good, of course. United are not going to have a bunch of players that are going to be amazing. But I just want to see a certain style where we go gung-ho for it. I think Tuchel's a little bit more on the reserve side and keeping things really structured at the back. I think with Man United, you're an attack team. I think if you're going to evolve it into modern day football, I just feel like you're going to have to go look at Maresca's and Don't Kill Me. And obviously right now, as it stands, is the Zerbis. And that's exactly what I prefer. I think the Zerbi is more realistic. He's been to Marseille for a couple of years. He went to Sassuolo, was there for a couple of years, upgraded, went to Brighton in the Premier League, went there for a couple of years, upgraded, went to a top team with a lot of pressure in the likes of Marseille. He's done that for a couple of years, made them a top side. There's a lot of good signings over there, and then now if there's a little bit of a jump up, we're not Arsenal's, we're not Man City. So it's sickening to say, but the jump up from Marseille is our level type of club. It is. And that's the reality. And it's not me putting my standards down. I just want to go into a correct direction. And if he can slingshot us into a top side, then amazing. No one's going to deny that he can't do it, but you have to be, again, he hasn't proven that he can win cups. He just lost one on penalties against PSG, who are a great side. But if you're Serie, you get Marie, give it a rest. Areola, nah, just see for me, if I was Marseille and I was to lose the Zerbi, the first coach I'd be looking at is probably Areola to go and get someone that also plays an attacking kind of high pressing kind of style of football. I think that would suit someone like that. That's the next step up, Bournemouth into the Marseilles. If you're proving yourself as a coach, I think the Zerbi just at this point is I don't think he's a huge gamble like others. Like I think Xavi, as much as he's won the league and he's there, I think he's a huge gamble. There's a good reason why he doesn't have a new. He doesn't have a new club yet. I don't know if he's waiting on United, but I think it's a good enough option. Plays a certain brand of football, so I'm kind of for it. INEOS wants someone that's a little bit younger on the younger side of things where they can build a project. That's why I look at Ancelotti and say, yeah, he might be the outstanding coach, but if we look, if we're being serious about Ancelotti, will I take him? Absolutely. Just don't think we're ready for an Ancelotti type of manager. We always talk about coaching. Well, Ancelotti's way of doing things is not coaching. Do you know what I mean? He's more of a man manager. And he does get the best out of players. And I think he's a top manager, but just if you're considering the age of him, I think he's like nearly 70 years of age. He might be 68. I just don't think he's going to fit there. And I just don't think we're going to be ready for him. If you're going to have Ancelotti, I've never known him to be a project manager. I've known him as a manager that comes into the side that's already got some good players. You can add some even better players, and he's going to get you the big trophies. It's a bit stale. Kieran McKenna, I like his ideas. I think the Carrick interim will show us a lot about these new age managers, but it'll be on the list. I like McKenna. He has great ideas. My only thing about McKenna is can he handle the pressure of Man United? Has he done it at a big enough club? Ipswich is respectfully, you know, they're down in a championship. They're not a big club. There's not the pressures of Ipswich is the difference between a huge difference between the pressures of Brighton. And you know what I mean? And so forth and so forth. Thiago Motta, hell no. Nah, he's another Amorim for me. No chance. Apparently, McKenna is highly rated by INEOS. Yeah, I think there's an appreciation for him from what I've seen. When Ancelotti tried a project, he left halfway with Everton. Facts. There you go. I forgot about that. He had James Rodriguez. It's mad to think in our lifetimes we got to see James Rodriguez or James Rodriguez at Everton at all sides. I think the Zerbi we need the most in terms of style of play, aggressive attacking football, which is United DNA. I'm in complete agreement, Gabe. Top Reds would like Carrick permanent if he does well. I just don't think INEOS will go with that. I think the only way Carrick gets the job if he finishes second. There you go. Inzaghi took that Carpenter to 2 Champions League finals. That crap Inter to 2 Champions League finals in 3 years, won 2 league titles and a few cups. Yeah, but again, United fact, we already know we're not ready to go to a back three. You know what I mean? Inzaghi is such a Chelsea manager for me. Fabregas, again, a manager that I appreciate the way he plays. I would take a punt on him personally. I think he's doing a sick job at Como as well. Don Carlos, the man to make us serious again. One of these hipsters needs to come into a good team like Company did. I think Ancelotti is ready to retire. I think after this Brazilian World Cup, maybe the following, I think he's ready to retire, man. The guy's catching on, man. He's not this. He's got to remember, he's like 70 years of age. Could be about 68. Again, I've said that before. Don't want to get things wrong, but he looks about 70. He looks like he's catching on. Kieran McKenna and Maresca were on the same trajectory. Still at the time, he was at Leicester, so who knows what McKenna can do with a squad of players we have compared to Maresca did at Chelsea. See, I'm willing to gamble on Maresca, not Maresca, but more of a Kieran McKenna. But I'm more for De Zerbi. I want De Zerbi. That is my top choice. And I'm glad INEOS identified a couple coaches that are more on the attacking side of things. And you know what? It's just I'm so done with pragmatic football, man. Like sitting back type football or players that are just crap as well in general. So bored of that. At least what you just said, at least with De Zerbi's going to entertain. You know, it might not always be nice because there are certain things with the way De Zerbi plays, you get exposed at the back. But if you're playing high energy attacking football and creating risks in every department of the field, you're always off your seat wondering what's going to happen. You know, how long has it been? Every manager you look at Man United having over the years, right? Let's start with David Moyes, defensive, right? Let's go over Louis van Gaal, pragmatic, defensive. You keep going further forward, Mourinho, defensive. Oli, Ragnick, defensive. Ragnick, if you want to even count that. Oli, defensive, counter-attacking football. You know, but it was obviously with Oli, why people say he played the best football is because he had some key players that were just fast and rapid that will kill you in an attack. But it was still quite defensive. 4-2-3-1, sitting back deep. Scott McTominay, Eric Bailly and the rest of it sitting back and soaking up the pressure. You know what I mean? Ruben Amorim, Ten Hag in his first season, defensive. Ruben Amorim, defensive. We always got these defensive-minded coaches. It pisses me off. Why can't we ever get an attacking coach? If we're such this team, there's this amazing United that needs to, and we're thriving off attack. It's time to go appoint an attacking manager that appreciates good players that are technically suited to us or suited to the Premier League. I just don't want to be seeing one midfielder brought in and think, oh, you know what we're going to do? We need 2 midfielders. You know what we're going to do, lads? We're going to buy Baleba and then we're going to promote Sekou Kone and we should be good for the season. That's what's going to piss me off the most. If United do not spend around circa of 300 million this summer alone, and I know we need players this January, which doesn't look likely, we are never, ever getting on our feet. Never. Ever. When players like Wharton and Balebas are going to cost you 75, 80 million a piece, Anderson's as well, if he decides he don't want to go to City, because let's be real, he looks like he's City bound, right? That's already what, 150 million down, 160 million. That's what pissed at. And then you're thinking like, wait, hold on, but we need a left winger. And in the market that's so shit, they're going to know you need a left winger, so they're going to extort you for that little bit, Christian Vivel or not, if it's Yan Giamondo or whoever else it may be. Then you need a backup goalkeeper because you can't rely on being there. And you're going to need a backup striker or a striker that can, give Sesko a run for his money because, you're going to be down Xerxes. So, yeah, when you deep it, Man United are going to have to spend a pretty penny and about 300 million worth. Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. We need a left back. Don't forget that, lads. We need a left back. So what have I just counted up there? We need about 2-3 midfielders, a left winger, a left back, and a backup striker. We need about 6-7 players. We might need to spend more than 300 million. I think Mateta's a great shout. I'd be looking, that's who I wanted in the summer previously before Sesko, and that was my first kind of choice. But bringing in Mateta as an option, a different kind of player to Sesko, you got to be looking at that, especially if he's leaving on a free. Is he leaving on a free or has he got one more year? If he's leaving on a free, you go and snap that up. But it seems a little bit too smart. Me, you, and the comments, all of us, we can work out these players that we should get. But the reality is, it's like it's a little bit too smart for Manchester United to do. It's always the case with us, isn't it? What does Carrick have to do for you to give him a chance at being the manager for next season? Score lots of goals. Get us scoring lots of goals. Get us to at least second, I'd say. I think second, you'd have to pip City, which ain't going to be the case. Prove that you can beat these big teams as well. And you know what? I think consistency is the key word here, is consistency. If you can show that, then I would consider it. I would consider it of that, because you know what it is, like, he's a caretaker manager or interim. There's not a lot of the pressure there isn't the same as when you sign a contract. You learn from all of this. If you would consider McKenna in your side, you have to consider someone like Carrick, because they're kind of from the same ilk. Obviously, one was at Middlesbrough, one was at a better side in Ipswich who gave better funding and all that. Like, Middlesbrough pretty much gave Carrick barely anything to work with or even get. So that's what that was the big reason why they end up leaving. A team that was barely scoring goals, and then Carrick comes in and they sort of start scoring goals. Can Carrick's way of being a little bit sideways and backwards, a little bit keeping it a little bit more reserved in terms of possession? Yeah, of course he can. But you can't consider Kieran McKenna if you can't give someone that's proven themselves already in the interim spell about giving them a chance at taking the management. I just don't think INEOS is going to go down that path, though. You keep asking me a lot of these weird questions. Would I take a Iwobi at United? Boy. Would you take Jemba back if he was in his prime? Gasperini is a good manager. His every striker used to score 10 plus goals under him. Gasperini, but guess what? He plays 3-4-3. Vitek can be our backup goalkeeper next season. I think he gives Larmans a run for his money. I do believe that as well. So I suggested that yesterday. Make sure you keep smashing the likes, people, as well. We are on 65 likes with 200 in the house. So if you want to, if you don't mind, liking the video gets me potentially someone's a subscriber that hasn't subscribed might go into their home feed. They might see this. They might be a United fan. It's like, oh, let me give this guy a chance. Let me hit the fun button on them, or let me subscribe because he's talking a load of bollocks, but I don't mind it. Win the next 3 games. I mean, if Carrick can end up beating City and getting a point at Arsenal or vice versa, then you're onto some good stuff in it. But come on, man. We still have what we have in it. We still have Maguire. We still have midgets like Lisandro Martinez, who great on the ball, but defensively you have to question it a little bit. You still got young players like Euro and Heaven. It's is can these players remain consistent, let alone the coach be consistent in the way he wants to do things. These players are not consistent enough yet. You know, Ahmad and Mbeumo, I'm very optimistic to see what they can offer. Obviously, because it's been a while. I forgot what they were like. I remember being annoyed with Mbeumo before he left to AFCON. I said he can just go to AFCON already. It's going to be a huge boost. I don't have to watch Mount on the wing. I don't have to watch Dorgu on the wing. Get Cunha central, please. Please get him central. You know, it'll be interesting to see even who he uses as the left wing back. It's probably going to be Dorgu or Shaw because Giles used to be. I'm only going to go off what I saw with Middlesbrough. That young Giles kid was a very attacking fullback, and you know what? Shaw doesn't suit it, and neither does the likes of Dorgu. I just don't think Shaw can be a little bit reserved. Dorgu is a little bit raw. If you're going to use that kind of role with Carrick, you might as well call back Harry Amas. Harry Amas is perfect for that. He'd be absolutely amazing for that role. He'd be just like Giles. No, Dorgu's been good recently. Depends what you define as good. I'm just for me, anyways. I mean, look, can he put in a tackle? Sure. I like Dorgu when he was on the right-hand side, but Ahmad and Mbeumo are better wingers than him tenfold. So you're not going on there. If we're going to talk about the left-hand side, when his game's a little bit more simplified, I don't think it suits him. I think he's a bit clunky. I know he's young and whatnot, and maybe that wing-back role could really suit someone like Dorgu. Would I prefer Shaw? But the thing is, for me with Dorgu is his quality of delivery is quite poor for me, and he needs to stay consistent for about 90 minutes. I want to be proven wrong about this kid. I just don't know if he can sustain concentration for 90 minutes. There just always seems to be that sort of mistake. But he's not the problem for me. The problem for me is not Dorgu, because as you said, he looks like he's improving at small margins. I need Mazraoui back, man. I need him back in my life. Honestly, I am so sick to death of the lows. I don't know about you guys in the comments, but I am very bored of the lows mistakes that I see week in, week out, switching off in prime moments that get us where it's conceding just too many goals or too many chances, ripped to pieces at times. I need a Mazraoui, man. Technically, he's not as great as what I think people make him out to be, but I miss De Ligt and I miss Mazraoui. For me, De Ligt and Mazraoui is like Ahmad and Mbeumo coming back. It's the same thing. It's the same thing for me. So that's just my opinion, though. Mazraoui has to lose tonight against Nigeria. Sorry, Maz. It doesn't matter, to be fair. He's going to come back for the Arsenal game either way. He has to play for a third-round place. So now I'm just like, you know what? Might as well just go all the way in it. Marlon to Roma looks like Jay-Z will stay. Yeah, they already said that. Joshua Zirkzee going nowhere. Kajoglu was chefing our right-hand side. Typically we were linked with him for 20 million, didn't pull the trigger, and Brighton got him. Yeah, but he plays on the left back as a right foot. I kind of wanted him, but I don't think he's proven himself at Brighton. I don't believe he's even a star as much from what I remember watching. It's not him. I don't think there's any point in looking at where it ended up. And Middlesbrough tactics and play contributions come down to the squad you have. We don't have Giles to do jail. Oi, Dan, you're a big supporter, but when you type, sometimes I get lost. Cass, I swear you don't like this. No, I like the Zerbi. Of course I do. I wanted the Zerbi before Amorim in the summer. I wanted the Zerbi. I thought he was going to go get him. De Ligt has back problems. Never a good sign, but he's been injured for over a month. I mean, it's not a good sign, but they're not telling us something. I thought he was training. Let me double check this with De Ligt. De Ligt injury. Let's see what's come up 5 hours ago. All right, this is one of the worst ones ever. We need a press conference really about this. They're not really. De Ligt has missed Man United's last 9 games. Let me see this. What could be the problem here? It's saying what all the experts going to say. yeah, I don't think he's going to be. He's not going to return anytime soon, by the looks of things. United have not disclosed any details behind the injury, but back problems can be problematic. Arsenal lost William Saliba to such an injury in March, ruled him out for the final 3 months of the season in a blow. That blah blah blah. There's no suggestion Delict's struggling with similar issues. Details, blah blah. CEO which specializes in injury welfare. What did he say? We don't know if it's each would come down with his own set of complications. I have no idea. So this expert is not really being very much of an expert. He gave me absolutely nothing that I don't already know. Brilliant. That's brilliant. Like up the chat. What are we on? We are on 85 likes. We can get this to 100 likes very, very easily. Just under 200 here, less than 100 likes. Sort it out. Big up yourself, filthy man. Doku versus Delo. Oh, God. See, the thing is, I saw Shaw look up Semenyo but obviously there was Man United switched off in that goal against Bournemouth. I'm not so worried about the Semenyo part. It's the low versus Doku is a bad time, man. It's so awful. Honestly, if there is one thing I'm wondering about is how the hell do we lock up Doku, mate? You see what he done to Lewis Miley yesterday, even with Murphy defending with him. Oh, give it a rest. How do you stop someone? How do you stop someone like Doku? I remember what St. Maximan did to Delo, like in the final. It was naughty. If Doku had an inch of better delivery, oh my God, he'd be the best player in the world. He's the biggest problem. I'm not bored of Delo. I already know he's 2 packs of arse. He's like Shaw should have gone time ago. He's another one that needs to go. Haaland versus Martinez. Doku against this is where I'm at. This is why I don't want to play Martinez. Anytime Martinez plays against Haaland, I think bar one game, I think it was it FA Cup final? Is it FA Cup final? I think it might have been. Nah. No, I'm not for it. I'm not for it, man. I don't want to see Agate anywhere in the field. I don't want to see none of that. Carrick, please just do the right thing. Just play my favorite so I can feel better about myself. Yeah, you got that's where I'm at. You got to make the Doku, but the thing is, with the way Carrick plays is, it's a little like his approach is his build up is very good. It's just it's the idea of getting and sustaining the ball in the final thirds of City's half. The only way you really get at City is if you move the ball as quick as possible, so you can counter them in the wide areas. You know, that's where I'm at. Martinez, I can't remember, man. I really can't. I think we're gonna have to go with the likes of Maguire. You know, you got to go with Maguire and probably Heaven. You know, you need 2 big players in there to deal with Haaland as much as possible. That's what Botman and flipping Malik Chow did just yesterday. You know, you need 2 big players that can handle him. And he's a lump. Has anyone noticed? Has anyone noticed? I don't know. Carrick going to go on the front foot. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. I expect us to be a little bit better in possession, but we'll see, innit? I think we'll see it I'll believe it when we see it. Wide areas are going to be the key to victory for both sides. Where the hell is Delict? I don't know, man. I don't know. Cunha ain't starting for me. No, he's not starting for me either. I'm starting Ahmad and Bumo and Sesko straight away. Straight away. I'm not even joking, having Bumo straight next to Sesko. And we need to put balls into the box. You know, one thing I saw with City yesterday is you know, the recovery. You know, you see Jacob Murphy on the break or Vista on the break or whatever. A bit more quality in their finishing or in their delivery. That just a little bit more. You'd find that, you know, because of the inexperience of what they do have at the back, it could be a little bit key for us. I think, anyways. You know, but it's easier said than done. I'm always trying to work out like how Carrick might play or how he might set up. But if I see an Agate in that side, I'm just gonna cry and just say, you know what? I'm gonna go shake Daps' hand and say, you've won in a bit. I shouldn't give up, but it's just that's where I'm at with this team at the moment. Sesko is fast as City play a higher line. That's where I'm at with it as well. But remember, Kusanov is rapid as well, you know, and he's strong. So you're gonna have to catch him out positioning wise. Cass is the prime Dybala, the biggest miss we had in the past 10 years. Nah, he would have got injured anyways. Who's on the left? I'd put Mbumo on the left because Carrick has the left winger very, very much next to the striker, pretty much tucked in. That's where I look and say you probably want to play Mbumo there. If you're going to play like a natural winger, someone that can do it out wide, you're looking more at like an Ahmad, you know, because at least with Mbumo, if there is always space for counterattacks, in the way I view things, I just feel like there's that little bit's always going to be on. If it's Sesko and Mbumo, it's not just Sesko running behind. You've got to deal with Mbumo's pace now as well, you know? So I'd put Ahmad on the right and Mbumo off the left. Just let him be that second striker kind of figure. You know, pop the ball into his feet. He's got some good hold up anyways. And then, you know what, hopefully like the likes of Bruno Fernandes or whatever can find him. But again, remember, this is the first session that United are going to have to set up. I don't know how clean it's going to look. And Mbumo is the second fastest winger in the Prem. He's going to cook cousin of Ahmad Bear Tricky. Is he the second fastest? Is he? Maybe you're right. I don't know. Don't we think that Ahmad would give City left back more trouble than Mbumo? Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm at. That's what I would be clean in that kind of series. Yeah, dropping Cunha is kind of mad. No, it's not. Drop him. Absolutely drop him. He does not deserve to start. If anything, he needs to prove himself by coming off the bench. Bruno Fernandes gets tired or something, or Mbumo gets tired. Cool. Bring them off. Bring him on. You know, you need to like sort out the midfield and make sure it's solid. Cool. Bring on your Agates or whoever. Just make sure that we're compact. One thing against City that I would say that, you know, that you could really give them a run for their money. And even Arsenal, it's the same thing. If you keep yourself compact and you're focused there, you know, out wide, the difference is they got Semenyo now, but you know, you have to be switched on, and that's the only way you're gonna get it. You stop Haaland, you might stop a little bit of City, but now you have to worry about a couple more things. So United are gonna have to be on the A game, man. We just better hope that, you know, their players are knackered like it was the FA Cup final. Oh, we might get a battering. Give Cunha the freedom to roam. Could be an option. Could be an option. Who knows? I'm just going to keep waffling on. You know, again, I said it at the start of this. If anyone hasn't been here, my favorite part is Southgate snubbed. That's the best news Man United fans can see today. I'm tired of these fucking rivals like teasing me, yeah, saying you're going to get Southgate, or in my group chats. I'm not hearing Southgate chat. Anyhow, if Southgate came in and I heard anyone back in Southgate, like let's in theory, let's just say it happens, like hypothetically. Yeah, I think I'd lose the plot. I think I'd be fully done with this club. I'll go support you know what? A random side in the championship. Just go support one of those. I am not watching Southgate at Man United. I've been through crap with this club. Don't get me wrong, yeah, but I just have to, until he gets sacked, I'll be like, I'm giving this a break. Giving it a break, man. Southgate is relegation talk. That's the sort of manager you bring in when you're trying to fight survival, not trying to get, you know, not at the wheel you're trying to win a league, let alone getting top 8 with this guy. Yeah, I'll start another sport. Like, give me someone at NBA to go watch these days. Who's the latest team that plays some good stuff? Where am I going to see threes getting dropped? Do you know what I mean? Some fades. Cass, I'd say I'd take 90 signing for meant fullbacks and midfielders at a guarantee for the summer. Facts. But we need a winger though. We need left wingers too, man. But yeah, people, I don't know who's live. Who's live at the moment? Let's make sure no one's. Let's make sure no one's text me just for a redirect. Who's live right now? Touchline is live. Let's go raid Touchline. Why not? Why not? We're going to be back later, obviously, with the Arsenal game on Never a Foul. So we said, why did we never talk about Man United and Never a Foul? I mean, we did this week, to be fair. I saw that someone, did you put that in there earlier, Ashley? We do talk about it. We spoke about it on Monday. We spoke about it on Tuesday. I mean, today's Wednesday. It wasn't a title, to be fair, but we ran over. We was too busy doing that American accent thing for that guy that said something in the comments. That's hilarious. Anyways, let's go raid Touchline. Make sure you put Cass raid. Make sure you smash the likes on the way out. I'm going to be back again tomorrow in the afternoon. Maybe with Saeed, but we'll see. Yeah, man. But yeah, mate, look. Hopefully we get a January signing. Bring me James Garner, man. Bring me James.